This upper section needs a special little treatment with some mud blocks, dirt, gravel, clay, all the good stuff. You know, we gotta make it look nice on the top, but here it's dead. Hello there, my name is Uni, and welcome back to my 1.19 Let's Play series. And in last episode, we created our water apparatus in the middle of the waterfall room here, and it is working out very well. We have now completed the idea that the water is coming from underneath within a hydrothermal vent, and then it is being pumped up from the ground there all the way to the top of our tower outside here, which if I just perfectly fly up this way, you can see it in all its glory. And you'll see right up at the top here, there is... Oh, oops. I tried, but I didn't get it. Let's try this way. Yeah, there. That's where it comes up from. And I will make a little hole here eventually, but this is where the water ends up, and then it just gets pumped down all the way, and it's going to spread out through all the hexagon here and to the eventual city that we create. But today we are going over this way in order to work on a little different landscaping project and a bit of a terraforming thing, because I want to go ahead and start up on filling in the gaps in areas where things don't really look quite natural yet. Now, so far we have a great little natural sequence of trees and little river coming down from the dam. We have this beautiful little alpine forest here, this sort of coastal forest over here, but I want to make this area right here a lot better. And over the past couple of hours, I have actually been working on getting a road installed from the sawmill up into town. So if we just walk over here, you'll see now that the road from the sawmill is actually connected up over here. And we have a tiny little crossing over this little river that gets diverted into the sawmill. But then if we go up this way, you'll notice that this zigzags all the way up into the actual town itself. And if I were just to crest over the hill here, yeah, see, it's another switchback situation. And I've been repeating what I did from over there by the observatory. And then it meets up right here with the original road. And eventually it'll go off that direction to the dam itself. But I'm just going to work on that another time. But today we have to work over here next to this big old bend in our train tracks. Now, what I want to do is I want to completely terraform this area, flatten this all out. We're going to make it as flat as a pancake and a flapjack on a Tuesday. Now, this water, it's going to be gone. No more water here and no more hill. This one right here, also going to be gone. We got to get our beacon back out because there is going to be a lot of terraforming. And this hole here and this hole, this massive hole right here, might have to cover that up. Maybe not today, but the other objective is to not only terraform this area, we're going to make a little river coming down from the top of this mountain here. And it's going to come out of this little crevice and cascade down. I love making things that cascade and lots of water, but today it's more of a natural feature. It's going to pool up right here into a nice little dendritic delta, and then it's all going to end up back out in the ocean, and we'll be able to have a nice view from here. And then also from over there, we'll be able to see it from all the way over here. Now, if I just land on top of this little peak, you'll be able to see right here, this entire area will be covered in trees, and it'll connect up to the actual alpine forest here. And one of the cooler things I want to do is I actually want to combine some of these trees that I made over there with the forest in here and actually make them kind of converge, because it's not quite too high up, but it's also not quite on the ocean itself. So it's going to be an in-between mix here. These are the coastal trees, of course, but this area is going to be slightly different. And then if we just head back down here close to where the barn is, I did actually update our map so that we have an upper section now that will actually be able to include this whole area. But we will worry about that at the end of the episode here. But let's go ahead and just fill up what we have right now. And let me just find a place to stand. There we go. And then we'll just stare directly at that so that we'll have a much better view of what we have going on around here. All right. Now we finally have a 4x4 map, and eventually this map itself will get its own place. In fact, I think I'm going to make a sort of central map hub one day, and it's not only going to have this, but it's going to be like an entire wall that just kind of surrounds the whole room. And it'll be of every single place that we've built in, including the hexagon, which of course is kind of isolated over there. But for now, we're focusing in on this area because now we have to start time-lapsing in our new form of time-lapse with the replay mod in order to get this brand new waterfall and forest into play. Well, my work never ends. Even after the time lapse, I have to go through and finish off some of the terraforming and landscaping that I didn't think to do during that time. And what we're doing right here is we're making a sand dune, or a series of sand dunes. There's one over there that is disconnected from this one, just to have sort of like a beach feel to the area. And if we go back over this way, we can take a look at all the stuff that we did during the time lapse there. And we have a nice little delta system going on. Now this right here, a delta, is where a river, stream, or creek meets the ocean or some bigger body of water. But specifically, a delta deposits sediment. And in this one right here, we don't have any sediment yet. It's all grass. This would be more like a meadow kind of outwash. But it's got a nice little meandering pattern. And if we even fly up into the sky here, you'll see a better angle of what this whole thing looks like. And it adds a very nice little feature to this corner of the cove here. Obviously, this being the sawmill on the other side. But this brings a nice little realistic feature and feel to our world. And of course, we do have to go through and make it look even more realistic. Now, in a delta or a system of estuary sort of thing going on right here, like this, we need to have dead grass. A lot of it. And it's going to take a little bit, but I can go ahead and do that in just a second here. After, of course, I get my sand dunes done. Over here, I'm not going to worry about quite yet. There is a massive hole on the other side of this wall. But right here, we have a nice little sort of look at what's underneath all the dirt and gross stuff here. And it is a sandstone layer. Now, this will come into effect next episode. I'm going to be explaining why this is here. But it has something to do with the mountain that we made over here. Actually, I think that's more of the tower that you can see from all the way over here. Oh my God. Unless it's just a chunk error loading. I don't know. Whatever. But anyways, right here, of course, we have a sandstone layer with a little bit of sand on top. And it's the same as this. If you look over here, you'll notice sandstone, but then it turns into sand. And below that is other rock layers that we won't get to quite yet, because next episode, that'll be the main course for that day. Oh, wow. That is a lot of sand in this spot. It took a lot more than I really thought I would need, but we are done with the sand dunes, and it is just a little tiny spot. Not too much to really think about, because when the wind is coming down this area, it's kind of blowing all the sand up onto this little hill here and depositing it. And of course, we just have these two big mounds of sand going right on the corner of our cove here, or at least the handle of the cove. Now, with the delta, we have to start getting all this stuff, as mentioned before, flattened out in a path, because this whole area has dead grass, and the dead grass gets flooded constantly by the tide and never gets a chance to really turn green, except for maybe in the springtime. And it is perpetually spring here, but honestly, in the winter, it gets even more dead. So this yellow color right here, I think it's perfect for a delta system. So we're going to go ahead and start just getting this whole area kind of covered in a bunch of dead grass, but not this upper section. This upper section needs a special little treatment with some mud blocks, dirt, gravel, clay, all the good stuff. You know, we gotta make it look nice on the top, but here it's dead. And now we have a very nice looking delta going on here with the dead grass everywhere and a little bit of a strip of dead grass along here to show that the water does reach up, but just not quite when the tide goes up. And so over here, we are going to be filling this in with all the mud, the dirt, like coarse dirt and gravel and whatnot. But you know what? I need to take a little detour over here because this whole line of trees, including this nice little waterfall here, is completely neglected so far after we have done that time lapse. And I need to go ahead and just show it off here and see what's going on. I am going to be making a nice little kind of walkway path going this way eventually that will kind of zigzag up into here, and it's going to connect to this little bridge. So there's going to be a path here, of course. And for now, it's just looking like this, but you'll just cross over this nice little dainty, quaint bridge all the way over to the other side here in a nice little flowered area underneath our huge and long train track system here. And then if we go up here, you'll also be able to see the waterfall, which is actually kind of starting to freeze over. And at some point right here, it is entirely frozen. So I'm going to need to come up with a way to light this up. so that it doesn't freeze all the way and that we can actually have it flow all the way down to the bridge there. So it's just a nice tiny little spring at the top here, and it's kind of just tucked away in a little nook here. And then if we just fly down, we can follow it all the way back over here to the area where we were working before. And actually, let's go ahead and land right here. Yeah, there we go. Now we got a nice overview of all the little trees we built, including some of the other trees which we had built over here. These ones I ended up bringing over here in just a kind of a way to make it more of a variety in a forest here. And it's not as jam-packed as the one over there with these taller pine trees, but these ones are a nice little addition that kind of take up the space in between them and like have room to grow with more sunlight coming through. But then, of course, the water goes all the way down to the delta, and we get a nice view of it from up here above. But now I think it is finally time we finish off today with a little bit of a transition from here to here. Now look at this. There is quite a lot going on here that needs a lot of explanation. There are some dead bushes and some alive bushes. There are cobblestone and gravel patches, and then dirt patches, and the dead grass, and all sorts of things. Oh my god, there's so much to go over, but let's go ahead and fly over this angle here to see what it looks like from over here. Oh yeah, this is almost an entirely new biome added into this area, and I am liking every little bit of it here. So I found out that these blocks here are not full height, which means that the mobs won't spawn on them at night, but there are these areas here, like on the coarse dirt as well, where the mobs will spawn. But over here we have all these dead corals and all these sort of like pretend bushes that have been kind of killed off by the tide coming in and out over and over again. And then up here, you can see where the tide doesn't reach anymore, but actually becomes habitable for the plants to keep growing. So they just do that. And then over here, we have this cobble bar going into the gravel. And there's a very specific reason that the cobblestone is here and then the gravel is here. And that is because class size. And that is describing the size of the actual rock. Now, most clasts are between like a pebble size or like a boulder size all the way down to the tiniest little grain of gravel or sand. And the reason this is here is because the heavier things are being deposited at the closer point to the waterfall here, and then the lighter ones are getting pushed down a little bit further. So we have just a bit of a physics thing going on there and a bit of a fluvial system in this entire area. But of course, there are no bushes on this because I can't actually place the grass or the ferns on top of it. But if we go over here, you can see there are plenty of them. And I'm just realizing now that I have missed an entire spot here. So I need to find a little patch of dirt. I don't have any coarse dirt. I want to go get some real quick. Ooh, yeah. From up here, this looks amazing. And then all we have to do is fill in this little tiny spot that I don't know how I forgot to do this, but there we go. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Now we have ourselves a complete biome. Well, not quite. I do need to go over and grab just a couple of these. So let's take this guy. We'll take that guy. That guy, that guy, and that guy. Haha, okay. So now we can finish it off with these 5 little pieces of grass. But anyways, as I was saying before, now we have these little clay deposits here, and these are even finer particles. But the thing is that usually there's a lot of topsoil, so what happens is all the particles that weren't this size of gravel end up going down a little bit further, but they're so lightweight that they get carried all the way out, except for when they hit a sandbar. And specifically a sandbar they are coming head onto. So they hit here and they kind of just settle down, relax, and then just deposit over time. But the rest of them get carried on with these angles here in the sandbar that carry them directly down into the delta itself. Now over here, we have a nice little muddy area, and I haven't actually made any mud down here because guess what? I've run out. I don't have any more mud to spare, but I'll get to that one day, of course, because I have to eventually maybe do something where I just, for a whole episode, I just go out and I time-lapse a bunch of resource gathering. Well, as we fly away here, we need to get back over to where we had our map. So I just have to land. Hopefully I can do this in F5. I am notoriously bad at doing stuff in F5, but here we are. let's go ahead and update this real quick because I want to see what it looks like on our maps. So let's just head back down and see what we get. All right, this is really cool. As I walk here, you can see it fill in. That is so awesome right there. And you can even see the sand dunes starting to change as well. And if we just fly down to here, there we go. It's all done. We have completed this entire area here. And I'm just going to go ahead and hop up back up here. Don't worry about the drop off. That has nothing to pertain to this area. I will just ignore it for now. But, oh, I almost forgot. I wanted to add in this half slab at the base here because even though it's not exactly accurate, you know, it's not changing in class size or anything, the reason I did this was because I wanted it to feel like it was a very shallow kind of bay level sort of river, I guess, or delta, yeah. And so everything here, even up on top here, is half slabs so that it's just kind of very small flow, going very easy and not really rushing too much. But now I think we have to end off today's episode with a little bit of a map update. So let's go ahead and pop in the things we just filled out there. Let's grab the other one and look at that. There it is. That's the top of our map now. It is the Delta area and of course our little stream going all the way into it. And you can see now how it goes straight, but then as soon as it gets here, it spreads out because there's so much flat area that it needs to just find wherever it can. And of course, it's the same kind of thing here, but this is more of like a downhill dendritic pattern. And that's because this was like man-made, or at least I made it. So that's a whole different thing. That's more of an agricultural sort of dendritic pattern going on. It's not quite the same as this natural pattern, but you know, nothing truly is natural in this game, but we try to build it as close as possible to that. And anyways, my name is Uni. Thank you so much for watching today's episode. Make sure to leave a like for the video and subscribe to the channel because I would really appreciate it. I am jogging it out today, and I will see you guys next time.